Hey everyone, so we're gonna be talking about anti-heroes. So this is we're gonna relate it to comics. So, comics is basically like a free form expression through how stories are being told in many history in different generations. And comics, about what's cool about comics is that it's an art form. They use this in agriculture way, and the way how I'm gonna explain to you about how comics works, it talks about anti-hero, talks about doppelgangers, like for example Avengers, there's doppelgangers, in like movies, how people look like similarities in the characters, good and bad characters. That's an example of a doppelganger, but they have similar stories, so we're gonna today our only focus is gonna be anti-heroes discussion. Yeah, so anti-heroes are the main characters, but maybe not hero. But you can see both sides of being good and bad. The perceptions of this is we don't know what to expect, and the person that is complicated being a hero. The concept, function, behavior, betrayal, and perception of understanding the difference between a person who can be good but instead betrays a hero and working as a team, as a sample. Iron Man's a good person, as a character, but he wants to do the right thing for citizens and people and want other superheroes to get along. The problem with Captain America is that he disagrees with Iron Man. It might represent the color symbol patterns and mood. It fits as an anti-hero pattern because we can't tell from a perception story of a superhero who is good or bad. Iron Man may feel a lot of emotion like depression, anxiety, and concern being good, and solving cases. This is a great example of hero being, because I feel like Iron Man goes through a lot in this movie scene because he has to, plan out how to fight an evil villain, basically, how to prepare this battle. Iron Man's a good person because he wants to always do the good thing to fight evil villains, So yeah, in my perspective, how I see as a superhero, it's someone who is a leader and know what they do right. The outcome of it's like who's behind the evil villain. I would say it's hard choosing sides of hero because one side is good, but one of these superheroes can betray a team member. The message about these superheroes about their identity, it's that can ruin other superheroes' plans of opportunity to be a better person, save lives. You can see both sides for fighting each other. That leads to anti-hero decisions to as a superhero, and it kind of leads to audience where once a good hero, it's like they go to a bad side villain. It's like this audience sees characters as superheroes as a bad villain. It's like they're like, oh, I don't like him or her as a character anymore because now she's going to the opposite side of a hero. Like for example Avengers, there's sides that you can see, there's good and bad sides of good villains, there's evil villains. So you know and that leads to a problem, because they will tend to fight each other. Maybe they might double times to fight to get their mind set into like you know it's correct battle. So yeah, people may look at characters personality different once they understand the plot story of a superhero character. Audience are shocked why he or she is like that, why they change. They call a hero being a betrayer as a sample. So this brings back to the topic that I was talking about. Like, when audience watch movies, right, as superheroes and comics, it's like, why is that character changing for some reasons? Like, sometimes the story doesn't make sense. The ending of it about comics. I feel like comics the way they write it, there's different versions of how stories being told. Especially if you go to comics today, it's like you kind of like open a book, you kind of look at different characters. The stories are how it's written. Especially the content is the most important thing about anti-heroes. To me, heroes are just heroes. Basically, it's like, who do you think is your biggest influencer as a superhero? Like, do you think he or she is good? But put in perspective, there's no right or wrong answers, because I feel like heroes, it's hard to talk about because in stories they tend to change a lot from plot to plot and scenes to scenes when you watch Avengers or like different versions of heroes. So I hope you guys learned something about comics, about like apply to concepts about heroes, and that's pretty much it. And thank you.